Hello and welcome to Furiosa movie update number 4. In this video we'll take a first look at Chris Hemsworth as Dementus on the set of Furiosa. We'll thoroughly analyze the footage and pictures from the set at Cornell, focusing on new characters. We'll take an exclusive look at Furiosa's tanker and some other vehicles. And finally, we'll talk about the current floodings in Sydney and what it means for the production. Let's begin! In the last couple of days, a whole lot of pictures from the set at Cornell have surfaced, and there's definitely a lot to cover, so if you don't like spoilers, look away. Otherwise, strap yourselves in. Right out of the gate, we get a first look at Chris Hemsworth as the love guru, Dementus. The main villain of the movie, the leader of a huge biker gang that roams the wasteland, kidnaps and sells people, including Furiosa, and the actor is sporting a huge beard, long hair, and a prosthetic nose which makes him look almost unrecognizable. And he's definitely going for this ancient Greco-Roman look, starting with his outfit that's inspired by the look of ancient Roman warriors, down to the red cape. And then there's his vehicle of choice, which is a motorbike chariot. We can see him standing in the bucket of the chariot while the bikes are connected up front. It is again inspired by both the Greco-Roman horse chariot racing and actual motorbike chariot racing that was invented in Australia in the 1920s. The inspiration is obvious, and he even put horse tails on his bikes. Now, Dementus kidnaps people, that much we know, and we can clearly see the cage that he keeps those people in. In the footage, we can see him talking through a microphone to somebody high up, and that immediately reminded me of a very similar scene from the Fury Road prequel comic book, and in it we see the Immortan talking to somebody in the aquifer, trying to trade people that he kidnapped for some food and shelter, so maybe it's a similar scene, we can only assume. Now, let's take a look at some other characters in those pictures. First of all, there's this man dressed in white standing on the chariot bikes, and he also seems to be addressing somebody high up. This is David Collins from the Umbilical Brothers and the Upside Down Show, and you can see him a little bit better in those pictures. I'm guessing that he might be playing a character similar to Toady from Mad Max 2, essentially an announcer for the Warlord, maybe a comic relief. Another interesting character is this man in a black coat, sporting a huge mane and an eye patch. This is an Australian actor, Lockie Hulme, and he's been spotted on the set with CJ Bloomfield before, and he also visited the Mad Max 2 museum, much like a few other actors from this film. And in my previous update, I speculated that this man on a bike could be young Immortan Joe, but I think we've been looking at Lockie's character all along. The looks just match. Now, in the footage we can see him trying to hype up the crowd along with Matus Paz, and then we see them both next to yet another interesting character, which this time is just sitting on a trike. And this is without a doubt the Organic Mechanic, played once again by Angus Sampson. His trike is equipped with bone saws and it's got a medical kit, although I'm not sure if they actually used the same med kit that we never really saw in Fury Road. It'd be a crying shame if they didn't. It's a really nice and elaborate prop that just did not get any screen time in Fury Road. Now, since it's difficult to tell what's really going on in this scene, I'll just assume that the Organic used to ride with Dementus' gang before teaming up with the Immortan, but don't take it as gospel though. If you have your own take on it, make sure to let me know. Meanwhile, closer to the cage, there's a character played by Ian Roberts, a former professional rugby player turned actor, and he was also seen around in Broken Hill and most recently attended the premiere of Thor: Love and Thunder, along with his acting buddies David Collins, Matus Paz, and CJ Bloomfield. And then there's this strange-looking character, a biker dressed in black with big horns on his helmet. That is Goran D. Clout, and you might have seen him in Hacksaw Ridge or in Alien Covenant playing the Xenomorph, and you cannot see it in the picture, but he is 6'6". Add some horns to that and we're talking about a seriously imposing stature. We can also see a warboy who's played by Sean Millis, and maybe it's just me, but he looks kind of like a young version of Slit from Fury Road, mainly because of a very similar scar on his face. And finally, it's worth mentioning that Chris's own family is gonna have a cameo in the film. His wife and children, as well as his father, were seen in costume on the set, and there's pictures of Chris showing them around. Now, let's pull back for a moment and focus on some things that we might have missed. I've counted approximately 30 bikes on this set alone, which apparently is only a fraction of all the bikes that we're gonna see in the film, and it would seem like we're only seeing Dementus' gang, but I would not be so sure. Some of the characters look like they're from the Bullet Farm, there's of course this war boy, and there are some people that are definitely the Wretched, which leads me to believe that this scene might take place at the feet of the Citadel. Okay, now that we've discussed this footage from the set, it's time to take an exclusive look at some of the vehicles, starting with Furiosa's rig. Some new footage of this rig had surfaced a couple of weeks ago, but the most interesting thing is that it was captured by Emil Minty, the feral kid himself, who was just minding his own business when all of a sudden this thing just rolled by. Now, I can only imagine seeing a Mad Max rig out of nowhere gave him a flashback or two, but he captured some really nice footage, especially of the tanker. Even though it's all covered up, we can see that there's something big installed in the back of the tanker. If you're wondering what that thing might be, don't worry about it, I got you covered. Here's the exclusive. So that's what it is. It's single-handedly the strangest weapon I've ever seen on a Mad Max vehicle. It seems to be 4 spinning rings, each with a ball on a chain that's attached to it, and the rings also have some metal teeth, and the whole thing is moving through a chain drive that's connected to, well, to something. I mean, the idea seems pretty obvious. This thing just starts spinning around like it's one of those things on BattleBots, and then you just hope for the best. It seems to be an okay defensive weapon if you ask me, until you realize that you can actually go around it and attack from the side. But maybe it's got some hidden features that we're not aware of. Maybe we'll have to see it in action to see what it can really do. And of course, the whole thing is finished off with the Immortan's trademark skull on the back. And I think that's about it. Well, except no, we're not done with the tanker yet. Remember how in update number 2 I was guessing that there might be an embossed image on the side of the tanker? Well, it turns out that I was right. There really is an embossed image on the side, but it doesn't show a Roman warrior. Instead, we see a man leading an army to battle. It's difficult to tell who this man might be. He's holding an AK, which would mean that it's the Bullet Farmer. Then again, he's wearing a mask, and that would mean that this is the Immortan. Plus, let's not forget that we're only looking at the back of the tanker. There's a lot more of that image on the rest of it, and I cannot wait to see it. Now, let's move on to new vehicles that were spotted most recently. The first one was spotted at Kurnell, and look, there's no other way of saying it, it's a monster tow truck. This one caught my attention in one of the aerial pics before, but I just couldn't believe that it would be in the film, but apparently it is, and it looks absolutely insane. All black, huge wheels, 2 towing cranes, and a very aggressive looking front. And sure, it kind of looks something like Rictus would drive if he was, into towing business. But it does look similar to an American monster truck called King of the Road, which is a 1986 Peterbilt. But it's definitely not that truck, as King of the Road is alive and well in the US. So I think this monster truck was purpose-built for the film. Speaking of monster trucks, Rictus's Bigfoot was spotted on a trailer near Khobar, most likely headed for Kurnell. I'm actually kind of curious how they brought this one back, because out of 2 Bigfoots built for Fury Road, one was crashed and the other had its Dodge Fargo shell taken off, and they put on a new Dodge Ram body in 2018 and basically just returned the whole thing to its natural habitat to do things like this. So I guess they either found a new chassis for the Dodge Fargo, or the old chassis was used once again. Well, the bottom line is that we're gonna see Rictus's Bigfoot in this film, along with yet another Fury Road vehicle that was recently spotted, the Polecat Pontiac Safari. Now, unfortunately, I have to end this update on some bad news. Sydney has just been hit with a torrential rain and massive floods followed. This means that all production of Furiosa at Kurnell, which is a suburb of Sydney, it had to stop. The worst thing about it is that nobody really knows how long this situation is gonna last. Everything is changing rapidly. Some people say that it might last a few days, others say that it's gonna take 2 weeks. But the bottom line is that the production of yet another Mad Max film has been stopped by bad weather. We've been through this back in 2010 when the floods and the subsequent change of scenery chased the production of Fury Road out of Broken Hill, and they had to film the movie in Africa instead. But to be honest, I don't think this bad weather will impact the production of Furiosa that much, simply because of the nature of the film. I mean, it relies on sound stages much more, and also Kurnell is not the only filming location, and let's not forget that they had already filmed some stuff, and I'm sure they're not gonna let go of that footage. So all in all, I remain optimistic. Worst case scenario, we're gonna get another delay, but the fans of the Mad Max franchise are so used to those that we won't even feel a thing. So for now, all that's left is to wait, and I hope everybody in the area stays safe and the production resumes as soon as possible. And on that note, that is all I have for you today. Now, if you enjoyed this video, leave a like, subscribe, click likes, just click everything. And again, thank you for your support. The channel is gonna hit 30,000 subscribers really soon. And if you want to support it more, then there's this thanks button, and I have a Patreon down in the description. And that's it. I'll see you in the next one. Until then, stay shiny and chrome.